Actually, superficially, this poem is about the celebration of childbirth, or this is also a celebration of Sylvia Plath's first baby, Frida, who was born in 1960. And this poem was published in 1961. So superficially, it appears to be a celebration of pregnancy, motherhood, the birth of her first child, etc., etc. But the imagery that is applied in this poem helps us understand the inner meaning, or helps us understand the message, or what Sylvia Plath wants to say. For example, the imagery of gold watch, the imagery of the sky, the imagery of the statue. So this imagery helps us understand what Sylvia Plath wants to say in this poem. Now, what is the message that she wants to incorporate into this poem? Or what does she want to say? She wants to say the mechanical characteristic of love affair. So while she refers to a statue, you know that it's a lifeless object. Gold watch, it is also a lifeless object. Okay. Or even the sky, it's also lifeless. So through these lifeless objects, Sylvia Plath refers to the barrenness of her relationship, or of her love for her husband, or her husband's love for her. So this mechanical relationship is referred to in this poem through these images. So love is mechanical. Actually, this is the message that Sylvia Plath means to say here. And this is an outcome of the trauma and troubles through which she was going at that time. And we know that her conjugal life was not a happy one. She was not happy with her husband. And the love affair that was extant between these two persons was not also love at all. They gave birth to a child. It does not mean that they are in love. That is, Sylvia Plath gives birth to a child, and the child, we usually or traditionally believe that child is just like a bridge between a man and a woman. That is the child's mother and father. So the child is a bridge. It's a living bridge, animated bridge. But if the bridge is inanimate, or if the bridge is lifeless, then what will happen? It proves that the relationship between the man and the woman is not resonant with love, or is not resonant with mutual understanding or mutual respect. So that very barrenness of relationship between Sylvia Plath and Ted Hughes is referred to here by these images of lifeless things. Understand? And this is the message, or this is the idea that Sylvia Plath wants to give in this poem. Understand? I think you can understand the point. And while she has referred to the statue, so what does she mean? She means that the child will not be able to bring about a vibrant relationship between its father and its mother. And while Sylvia Plath refers to the sky or the cloud, you know that the cloud or the sky contains cloud, and cloud contains water. And water, that is the cloud, melts into rain. And what happens ultimately? Ultimately, the cloud becomes uh, hopeless. The cloud becomes poor because it sheds all its water that it contains. So, after shedding water or shedding rain, the cloud becomes useless. The cloud becomes useless because it contains no more water, because the cloud melts into water. So after rain, the cloud becomes nowhere. Similarly, Sylvia Plath gives birth to this child, but after giving birth to this child, she does not hope that, or she does not desire that the relationship between herself and Ted Hughes will be normal. Or she does not think that the relationship between herself and her husband, that is Ted Hughes, will be all right. She does not believe that. And this is the barrenness, or this is the helplessness, or this is the impoverished condition of the cloud. As the cloud, after shedding water, becomes helpless, hopeless, barren, similarly, Sylvia Plath, after giving birth to her child, becomes a mother of the child, but she will not be able to become a good wife to her husband. So, this is the barrenness, and this very barrenness is also mentioned here. Actually, this poem is a record of the unsteadiness or trauma that she was going through at that time, and the anxiety or tension that was passing through her conjugal life at that time is very metaphorically interpreted here. Okay, actually, this is the major theme of this poem. Now, let's recite the poem. Love set you going like a fat gold watch. Fat gold watch. So, watch refers to the mechanical life. Because if you are controlled by the watch, or if you are guided by the watch, then you lead a mechanical life. So the child, after the birth of the child, Sylvia Plath does not think that her life will be normal, or there will be the normalization of her life. The midwife slapped your foot soles, and your belled cry took its place among the ailments. So after the birth of the child, it's a very normal incident that the child is to cry. If the child after birth does not cry, it is alarming. That may tell upon the development of brain of the child. And you know that if the child is handicapped, it is understood just immediately after its birth. So the child is to cry. If the child does not cry, it is alarming, and you may think that there is something wrong with the child. And if the child cries, it is positive, because that very cry will help it develop its brain. So midwife sometimes forcefully makes the child cry. And Sylvia Plath says, while the child cries, it declares its place, or it declares its position among the other people in the world. The child declares that, the child heralds that it is now present in the world and it has got a place among the other people of the world. So the child's cry is metaphorically interpreted here as a kind of declaration in favor of its presence in human society. Our voices echo, magnifying your arrival. That is, after the birth of the child's mother and the other people were very happy. They exchanged their views and conversation. So that very conversation or interaction among the people proved that the child was born, or it confirmed the arrival of the child at this world. New statue. The child is called the new statue. So this imagery is very important and significant. The child is also called a statue. So why? Because the child is here futile to bring about a mutual relationship between its father and mother. That is the reality which Sylvia Plath goes through at that time. For that reason, she has used this phrase, new statue. In a drafty museum, your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round blankly as walls. That is, while the child was born, all the people, that is, visitors, stood round just like the walls. So, what does it mean? It means that the child was born in a safe and secured place. The other people will guard the child. So it is just like a museum. You know that in the museum, some relics are preserved there in high security. All the relics are guarded there in various tiers of security. Similarly, while the child is born, it is also nursed, nurtured, and taken care of by its parents and other people. So this is a kind of security given to the relics preserved in the museum. For that reason, you will find the term museum here. Sorry. Okay. Our voices echo, magnifying your arrival. That is, we talked at that time, and our talk gave evidence that you were born. New statue in a drafty museum. Shadows our safety. We stand around blankly as walls. As walls means we gave security to the child, and the other people came to visit the child. It seemed he was just like a relic in the museum, and we gave protection to the child up to that relic. I am no more your mother. So this line sounds like unmotherly. I am no more your mother. So what does it mean? That is, after the birth of a child, due to the realities or due to his involvement with the realities of the world, the distance between the mother and the child becomes greater and greatest. Suppose you are now a girl of 20 years. Just take it for an example, or 22 years. So are you very close to your father? I think no. Are you very close to your mother? I think no. And after your marriage, you will go to your in-laws' house. the distance will be extended. And after the birth of your children, the distance will be expanded. And after the marriages of your children, the distance will be more expanded. So, since the birth of a child, the distance between the mother and the children starts increasing. It starts increasing. This is because of the realities of the world. If you emotionalize this incident, that is relationship between mother and child, then it will give you a different interpretation. But if you look at this very particular incident from practical perspective, you will find that it is true. Because you are living in the same house with your mother today, but you are not very close to her. You do not know many things about her, and she does not know many things about you. So why? Because of both of your involvements. You are involved in your own world and realities. And these realities are different from those of your mother. And your mother is also involved in realities which are different from those of your world. And this difference of realities brings about distance. And this distance is never reduced. This distance always expands and expands. For that reason, Sylvia Plath, very ironically, it sounds very strange that I am no more your mother. So what does it mean? It means that immediately after the birth, the child starts its journey towards its own goal. And that very different goal makes distance between mother and children. And this distance expands and expands every day, every moment. Then the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's end. So just think of the cloud. While the cloud hangs over your head, then you are very much hopeful that there will be rain very soon. Yes. After the rain, what happens? After the rain, you find that the cloud is no more in the sky. So immediately after the birth of the child, the mother becomes other. Mother becomes other. And for that reason, this very term is written sometimes in this way. Just look at this word. Do you see this word, mother? Just think of this word. This is reality. Understand? You may not believe it or you may not admit this truth, but this is the reality. Mother becomes other. M-O-T-H-E-R. That is mother. Mother means mom plus other. So mother begins to become other immediately after the birth of her child. That is indicated here. So theoretically, I think you can examine this poem very theoretically or from feminist perspective. A woman is always in the trauma. If you go to Freudian interpretation of sexuality or sex, you will find that a woman always suffers from a kind of problem. So what's that problem? Problem of becoming nothing. Problem of becoming nothing. A woman, you also, you are not exceptions, remember. A woman always suffers from the problem of the anxiety of being nothing. So how and why? Because the world all around you is a masculine world, is a masculine world. And Freud has said that the world is phallocentric, phallocentric, phallo or phallus. Phallus, it is the sexual identity of a man, not woman. Understand? So whatever is tough, whatever is strong, or whatever is very mighty is compared to a man. And whatever is soft, whatever is vulnerable, whatever is weak is compared to a woman. So while you go outside and look around, you find that the whole world, the whole environment is phallocentric. The whole environment is masculine, not feminine. Suppose if you go outside, you think that you need protection. You may be assaulted, so you need protection. Now, who will give you protection? Those who are strong, those who are very tough, those who are very strict will give you protection. Now, toughness, strictness, strength, always go with masculine identity. So while a woman discovers herself in a masculine world, so just think of this point very minutely. You are a feminine. The society has called you that you are feminine, not masculine. So this is branding of the society. The patriarchy of the society has called you that you are a woman, you are soft, you are unprivileged, you are to subjugate, or you are to bow down your heads before a man. That very man may be your father or maybe your husband. So while you are branded as soft, as weak, as helpless, and while you discover that you are in the world surrounded by masculinity, then what will you feel? You will feel like an alien. You will feel like an alien. You will feel that you are helpless and the other masculine people are all around you to give you protection. They may also assault you. You may be the victim of sex violence or even domestic violence. So you are always afraid of violence. That very violence or harassment may be verbal or may be physical. And this very feeling of being harassed, feeling of being attacked, or feeling of being the victim of sexual harassment or violence makes you feel that you are other. You are not mother. Even the mother of a son feels that she is getting otherized. She is other. Understand? Just look at this term. Think very seriously, and I think you will have a different angle of thinking. Understand? For that reason, Sylvia Plath has said, I am no more your mother, because the society has brought about a breach between you and me, between a child and a mother. The child is involved in other realities, and the mother has got her own reality. So these realities make them different. Even our daughter is different or distanced from her mother. You must not think that you are of different sex, different from that of your father. So you are distanced from your father, but you are close to your mother. No, the reality is that you are in a far distant place from both of your father and mother. So why? Because you have discovered that the world in which you are living is a masculine world. It is not a feminine world. So the world is branded as a masculine world. So you may feel like an alien here. Okay. And in this subcontinent, this problem is more acute than it is in the Western world. Because in this subcontinent, our women have to fight not only for political rights, but for their living. In Western world, a woman fights for the political rights only, or political equality, or suffrage, or franchise, right to cast vote. But here in this country, suppose if you think of Bangladesh, you are fighting for what? You are fighting for your political right. You are fighting for justice. You are fighting for your security at home. And you are fighting for your security outside. You may be assaulted by your in laws. Your husband may be brutal. He may assault you. He may not assault you. So you are afraid at home. And while you go outside, you may be assaulted by the other people. Suppose you are traveling or you are making journey by a bus, you may be assaulted there. And you know that in our country, even in the bus, girls are raped in our country. So you are fighting for your security in the bus. You are fighting for your security at home. You are fighting for your security for political rights. You are fighting for your social rights, your economic rights. So the realities in which you are living are different from those of the Western world. Sylvia Plath has very powerfully depicted the condition of a woman in the masculine world because she went through the experience. She experienced the negligence of her husband. She experienced that her husband was living with other women. She also experienced that she was not evaluated for her sacrifice and love for her husband. For that reason, life seems to her very mechanical or very statue-like life. Statue looks very beautiful. Statue looks like very tall, fresh, and artistic. But the great limitation of this statue is that it does not have life. So a woman may look beautiful. A woman may look very attractive. But if she does not get any recognition, if she does not get any dignity to live in the society with security, then she will feel like other. So that very feeling of that very condition of women is indicated through this very particular expression. That is, I am no more your mother. Than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's hand. Effacement. So while a girl is pregnant, she will have the development of her stomach. And while the child is born, she will have the effacement of her womb. Effacement means coming back to its original shape. So while the cloud is full of rain, it looks black. And while the rain melts into water, then the cloud becomes blue. It looks like the blue sky. So the blue sky is just like a lady who has already given birth to a child. So this is the detachment between the rain and the cloud, and this is also metaphorically interpreting the detachment or separation between the mother